Okay guys, today's mini lesson is going to be on ladders. When we do our training this summer, we'll be doing step ladders and extension ladders. Today, just a step ladder. I'm going to try to do this on screen as much as possible, but when I climb, you'll probably not see my head. I know things are a little ways away, but I need to fit everything in on the screen. So this is just kind of a quick hit on step ladders. So first things first, when you do use a step ladder, you got to make sure that you're wearing the right footwear. Flip-flops, sandals, mandals doesn't cut it. Okay, you have to have something that laces onto your feet. And if you're going to be working on a ladder for any length of time, something for like a boot or a shoe that has a steel shank in it, because that's going to give you more support for your feet, and it doesn't fatigue you as quickly. So depending on what you're going to do for work, you've got to make sure you have the right step ladder. So every ladder is going to have a label on it that tells you its capacity, its size, its total climbing height. This one is rated for 300 pounds, and that means that it's 300 pounds max for your weight and any tools or equipment that you might be carrying with you, or anything that you're wearing. So you've got to stop a second and think about your total weight. If you weigh 290 pounds and you're going to have a tool belt on, you're probably going to be exceeding it. You need to go to a bigger ladder. The next thing is going to be the size of the ladder. This happens to be an 8-footer, but it tells me that the highest standing height is 5'6". So you may think, well, why is that as high as you can go with an 8-foot ladder? Well, remember that the very top of the ladder, I know you can't see it, but the top of the ladder and the next step down, you cannot stand or sit on. And there's going to be a decal there that says do not stand or sit on this rung, step, or above. That's because it's a balance issue. Okay, your center of gravity will be too high, higher than what it's designed for, and you'd end up falling. The other thing is that puts part of the ladder somewhere around like your mid-thighs, which also helps you for balance and stability. All right. When we're climbing ladders, you've always got to maintain 3 points of contact. So that allows you to have another point to lean against the ladder. So never stand at the very top of a ladder. Plus that 5'6", well, that's where your feet are. Add your height and your distance of reach. You can obviously get higher than the 8 feet. It's just you can't stand any higher than the 5'6". So make sure the labels are intact. You read it, pay attention to it, and don't exceed it. All right. So all step ladders have rails. And this one will actually have 4, okay, because there's 4 legs or rails. There are feet at the bottom of them. Make sure that they're intact. It's always good to do a quick inspection on your ladder to make sure there's nothing bent, broken, cracked, any rivets have failed or anything like that. You have the steps in between the rails, and those usually have a little bit more surface area. On the back of the ladder, probably hard for you to see, are some sections that go across here. Okay, those are spreaders that just hold the rear rails in place and keep everything firm so it doesn't get all wiggly. Then we have the stretches or latches. Okay, if these are up part way, even though all 4 feet are on the floor, the ladder can walk. So always make sure your stretches or your latches are all the way down, and take the time to make sure that the feet are all firmly on the floor and that the ladder is not going to move on you. Because as you climb the ladder, the higher you get. If that is not making good contact and has firm footing on the ground, it's going to start to move. You can't get off the ladder quick enough, and chances are you're going to be falling off it or falling down. And it doesn't take very high to climb before there is the potential for serious harm or can cause death. I've actually heard of people dying on a 2-foot step ladder, and they weren't even on the top rail. We'll talk about that later. So I mentioned before, maintain 3 points of contact. What you have to make sure is that you're not using your hands on the steps, because if you're doing that, you're going hand over hand. That means only one of them is touching at any one point in time. And if you're doing the same thing with your feet, then that leaves you with 2 points of contact. So ideally, put your hands on the rails outside. But remember, as part of the pre-inspection, make sure nothing is cracked, especially on fiberglass or wood ladders, that you're not going to get any splinters. So if I keep my hands on the rails, I always have 2 points of contact there. Then as I put my feet on the steps, even as I alternate, I've always got 3 points of contact. All right? Make sure that when you are working on the ladder, that you're maintaining the 3 points. If I need to reach to the side, I need to have at least another hand or arm touching the ladder. You've got to make sure that your center of gravity, so your belly button or your belt buckle, does not go outside of the rails. So you can reach on a ladder, but obviously if you reach too far, then you're going to end up changing the center of gravity and the ladder will tip over. Never turn around and work backwards on a ladder. Never climb a ladder backwards. You shouldn't carry things up the ladder. So if you've got something over your shoulder and you're hanging onto it with your hand, you can't maintain 3 points of contact. So if you can't wear it on a tool belt or have it over your shoulder hanging while you climb, as long as it's not going to cause a problem, then you would use something like a tag line, lift it up when you get there, or maybe have somebody help you hand it off to you. All right? I think that is the quick hit on step ladders. Remember, 3 points of contact, wear the right footwear, make sure you're not exceeding the rating on the label. All ladders do have labels. If the label is missing, you shouldn't use it. Do a pre-inspection, make sure there's no damage to the ladder. Make sure that it is nice and firm, it's not moving around. Your latches, stretchers are all the way down and locked in place. Don't go backwards, don't turn around, don't stand on the top step. A lot of don'ts, I know. But that should do it for you. I'll have the quiz posted for you guys in a little while. Thanks.